This particular clause is one that can save you a lot of money. When you go to hotel venues, there are a couple, and we're going to talk about this when we get to the budget portion of our series of the event advent calendar. But there are two to three vendors that are going to be your biggest checks that you write to host your live event, and one of them is audiovisual. And audiovisual comes in a couple different variations, but all hotels have an in-house audiovisual provider.
And it's a revenue center.
It's a huge revenue center, and for the most part, those providers overcharge. And not in a small way. I mean, like in some cases, 2 to 3 times the amount that you would pay from an outside vendor. Yeah. So one of the things that we insist on at Sage, also, you would think you get what you pay for, right? Not accurate. So for the most part, hotel partners or hotel AV companies provide the same service, or in some cases, a lesser service.
Yeah, sometimes their equipment is not as up to date as it should be. Depends on the size of the hotel and how often it's being used. And the other piece of it is the labor. The person who's running your AV is not always the best person. Like, you don't necessarily know.
Exactly. So with that, we have a clause that allows for an outside vendor. And basically it waives any fees associated with using an outside vendor, because oftentimes hotels will have agreements with their in-house provider that if somebody comes in and does a live event, they will then, if they don't use the hotel, there's a massive fee associated with it. Yeah. Essentially, a fee that's large enough that there's no reason why you would.
Yeah. I mean, it can come in the form of shadow labor, move-in, move-out fees.
Or it could simply come in the form,
fee.
Or it could come in the form of not being able to use.
Yeah, just not even allowing you the option.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: you may ultimately use the in-house, but I always want the option to not, because it makes them compete for the business.
Absolutely.
And you want that. So you can go out and get an outside quote and say, listen, your quote's coming in here. This other quote's coming in here. If you can meet this quote, I would love to use you, because there is some value to having, especially if you're new, you don't have a team yet, you don't have an AV team yet, you're looking for simplicity, it's a small event. There's some value to using the in-house AV team if they're qualified and they're giving you a fair quote.
Absolutely.